Thank you for being a part of episode 3 of the Meet Your Husband series. My name is SAGENEL TV, and it's a great pleasure bringing you this amazing episode today on the continuation of our journey to helping you be found by your husband and meet your husband. One of the reasons why we started this series, amongst the robust educational resources we have been putting out, is to help you break the bias and limits that you have regarding meeting your husband or being found by him. Again and again, and I've written on this several times, spoken about this extensively on YouTube, on SAGENEL TV, which, by the way, you should subscribe if you are watching this right there on SAGENEL TV. I've spoken about how the world at this time is continually putting up a bad image about marriage. So if it's not this person that is divorcing this person today, it is somebody that is brutally beating someone, or another person that is killing someone else. The stories are a lot. But it's not true that people are not getting married to their right fit partner. It's not true that people are not enjoying their marriages. It's not true that people are not finding the right partners. It's not true. That narrative is not true. And so, together with the other resources, we started with this special series to help you see how other people met their husband. I will go ahead to even share at a different time. We're going to have a heart-to-heart conversation depending on when you are watching this video, where we're just going to talk on some of these things. But I want you to carry the mindset that meeting your husband and being found by him is not hard, and it's not difficult, and this is not something that I'm saying just from somewhere where I don't understand what is going on with you. Trust me, I have been on this journey of studying and understanding, especially in this generation, because this meet your husband, being found by a husband, and even men meeting their wives thing it may have started getting what people pose as difficult in recent times. It did not used to be in the days of the old. It did not used to be as complicated. So difficult is not the word that I'm looking for, but complicated is what it has not been. And I still stand by it. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be complicated. And for some of you, you have met your own husband at this particular point in time, but you do not know, you are not aware of it. And that is why when you come into a private session with me, I help you see beyond those limits that you may have placed on yourself. I help you to uncover. We go through a journey. We go through a journey of the limits. We go through a journey of the mindset, reorientation, positioning. There are a whole lot of things that you need to go through a journey of, especially if you live in the 21st century, and I'm going to help you with in the private session, because it's easy. It is easy to meet your husband, and you may have already met him, but you don't know, and you may still be on the journey to meeting him. But I'm especially particular. There are a lot of people that I'm convinced about have already met their husband, but they are not aware of the fact that they have met this guy, and I want to help them discover that. I've got a whole lot to say. We'll continue this conversation as we go along. Perhaps I should even do a video for this, but like I said, we're going to have a heart-to-heart conversation soon. That is at the time of recording this. Depending on when you are watching this, we may have had the heart-to-heart conversation. Just do well to check the links in the description of the video to find how to connect to me. If you are watching this video and you are wondering, okay, SAGENEL, I'm at this phase, I want to meet my husband, how do I go about it? I also want to point out there that meeting your husband is not for your selfish interests. It is for the sole purpose of the reason why God created family. So that is another myth that we debunk, another thing we try to help you work on. A lot of people are trying to get into marriage for selfish reasons, and that is why they're having a lot of challenges and a lot of friction. But when you understand that marriage is not for selfish reasons, and I'm going to put down the sacrifice that I need to put in the work, the same thing with the man as well. It is going to go on as fantastic as possible. All right, right about now, we'll be getting our speaker of 23 years to come and share with us how she met her husband. And you will see, in hearing these stories, you will see and you'll get to understand that it's not that difficult. In fact, it's probably already around you. It's probably already around you. Let's see, okay? One moment. It's probably already around you, or you're around him, or whatever the case may be, but societal, or what you may not be even aware of as biases that may be blocking or limiting you from seeing this person, and unlocking the door to being found by him. Because if you want to be found by a person, at least the door has to be open. And we'll talk a bit more about that later. We have our guest here, and we'll just get right into the conversation. Excited. Thank you so much, Coach Bose, for choosing to be. Coach Bose, see, we are matching a pink and pink. Like, Coach Bose, if you don't know Coach Bose, Coach Bose is, in fact, apart from the wisdom and knowledge that she carries, one thing I used to tell my husband about it is that Coach Bose likes to be very updated in the look. So you're not going to say, oh, I'm Coach Bose, so I'll just live myself. And I think that that's something inspiring, especially for somebody that is 50 plus 50 and counting. Thank you so much. I call her Sister Bose. We'll call her Coach Bose in the course of this conversation. All right, so just a bit about Coach Bose. Thank you to everybody that is joining in. She has been married for 23 years. The profile as it relates to this topic, because there's so much more that she does in the other sphere of her work as it relates to this topic. She got married at 28, met her husband in Ibadan, Nigeria. She's a married coach. They are both Yoruba, Nigerian, and they are both Christians. And we'll start the story. Coach Bose, I know when I reached out to you, you're saying, you're not sure, maybe the story is not as, or you were saying something that it may not be as interesting, but I don't believe it's a lie. I don't believe. Why I say I don't believe, when I visited you once at one particular point, I've seen an interaction between you and your husband, and I really enjoyed that small moment. It wasn't a long time, so it's not like I was there for say 2 hours, but just maybe those 15 minutes and all that. And even the way Prof was relating with me and talking, I did enjoy being around that space. I remember him asking me, I was telling him something about radio, and him asking me, oh, am I still going to do this and all that? So I just like that authenticity, and I start out with that conversation because just the authenticity of what is working will flow on the outside. So when people are going around thinking that, oh, marriages are falling and are bad, I think it's what you want to face and what you want to concentrate on. You are not seeking other channels to see the possibility of what is working. So with that, we welcome you, Coach Bose, and we'll start out with our first key question. How did you meet your husband, Prof?
Okay, thank you so much for having me this today. It's an honor, and I do not take it for granted. So when you reached out saying I need to come and share my story, I was like, oh, some stories are boring, You see, what today's young people want is sensationalism. You know, they want the oh and the oh and the e, but for some of us, we didn't have all those it was just based on other things that I will be talking about today because I'm supposed to talk about my own experience, which
Yes.
which I'm not saying that's how yours will be, but it's just my own story and I will tell it. So, how did I meet my husband? I went to school at the University of Ibadan, and he went to school at Federal FUTA, that's Federal University of Technology, Akure. Now, there was a fellowship where the fellowship was intra-campus. So we have this fellowship on different campuses, especially in the western part of Nigeria. So we normally do have joint programs. And I met him at one of such programs, the first of which I was attending. And that was where I met him. Of course, I met him as a brother in the Lord. So you would see these are the brethren from UI, these are the ones from OAU, these are the ones from FUTA, these are the ones from Lautech, and you know, all of us were like that. So that was the first time I met him, but it wasn't like meeting like husband or wife meeting. It was just my first encounter of seeing him as a brethren that happened to be on another campus and was active in the fellowship. Just as I was active, I was a leader on my own campus. He was a leader on his own campus. And then, you know, there would be interactions, maybe committee meetings and all of that. So that was my first time of seeing him. Of course, it was just a brother. So,
Okay. So please take us through the journey of from that first time of meeting him at the fellowship till the time where to the dating time or to the time where you both thought that it was time to date. Please, Bose, don't skip any part though, because we want to know. Because you know why it is,
you
Bose,
want
it's
to do?
so difficult in this generation. People are just so I'm like, okay, let's just go back and hear stories step by step. Maybe it will inspire some people to see how just every in your everyday life you can meet your husband. So from that first date till the I no not I do now to dating, how what was that like?
Okay. So for me, I read a 5-year course and going to school, I had just two things in mind. I was going to do well in school, like ace my grades, and then I was going to serve God. There was nothing else. It was just, like fellowship class, my hostel, fellowship class, my hostel. So that was the deal I had. Apparently, he also was that kind of a person. He was good. He graduated with a first class. Um, and so this was where all the interest came in. I think he was the one that got interested in friendship first. Because I wasn't keen, I wasn't looking. But because everybody knew, that tall sister that was studying petroleum engineering. So in the fellowship then, it was like, whoa, she's studying petroleum engineering. Kind of like everybody wants to say, oh, maybe she's brilliant and there are some people that are naturally attracted to brilliance. They are attracted to intelligence. So probably that was what made him to kind of like check on me. So he was living in Ibadan. The parents' house were in Ibadan. He was schooling in Futa. So you know that he will be coming to Ibadan like kind of often. And because he was also serving in the national executive of the fellowship then, so he will check on us on UI campus when he will check. And then he will be having conversations with me like, okay, so what's your GPA? So Sabo said, when are you able to, do you think you will be able to graduate to the first class? And I said, graduating with the first class is not even my intention. I came here, I feel a 2-1 is good enough for me. I wouldn't need to exert myself. I won't exert myself, it will come. But you see that first class, I will need to like, work extra hard, which I don't think I'm interested in. If I come out with a 2-1 in petroleum engineering, I think I can raise my head up. So I'm not interested. Then he will come again. I'll still be asking me, so did you calculate your GP? I said, Father Lord, which one is this person's own with me calculating GP? GPA, what's your GPA? Every day is about me, calculating my GPA. And then so I go to the GPA thing because I really wasn't keen. That okay, so you ask me all the technical bits about, so what do you think can make your grades go like this in the next semester? So we started on that follow-up of him wanting to like at least inch me closer. I said, if you have the capacity to have a first class, why not? Why just say, let it go? I said, sincerely, I'm not keen. So we used to just talk on that basis of him checking up on my grades and all, and then fellowship matters. So fast forward to when I was in part 4. When I was in part 4, I studied a 5-year program.
Yes.
So when I was in part 4, I went for my 6-month industrial training. Yeah. So I was out of school. I was out of school. I was in Lagos then and all. So I think I started to kind of like be more serious about really asking God about this. I used to really pray about my marital life. Don't get me wrong. Like I will pray. But the prayer was not like, God, who? No. I didn't want to even know who, because I wasn't ready for any relationship. It was just more about sowing into the future, praying for the man, praying for his family, praying for me to be a blessing. I will pray the root kind of prayer, like I will be better to them than 7 sons. In fact, the family I am going into, that family, they are so blessed because someone is coming in. So I pray for myself. I like adding value, being somebody of substance that will be better to them than 7 sons. I was so keen on this, being better than 7 sons to them. So those are the kind of prayers I used to pray, never like asking God, show me the person, because I didn't want to see. I wasn't interested. So when I now started having people like, show interest, come and talk to me, they caught this revelation, they saw me, I'm supposed to be their wife, and then like, okay, so if all of this is now coming,
yes,
so the people that came to ask me, like, okay, then it's not like I want to take you out, it's more like, this is what I am convinced about. They come with their conviction. I didn't really need to struggle with any one of them. They were just kind of like outright no, like you just know, like, no, it can't be this. So I wasn't really like praying. So when I started praying, when I started praying, a particular senior brother, like it was a brother, and he was doing his master's then, so kind of like he was older. So he was the one that was able to say, you need to be serious with this thing. That's like becoming a hot cake, like you told me one time somebody said this. You told me, won't you be serious about this thing? Why don't you? Now, in retrospect, my husband, now,
yes,
already had hinted. You see that brother that was talking to me, his own fiancé, then they were like engaged, they were doing masters, they were engaged.
okay,
And Yomi were friends. So I think he already like kind of like told some a few people like this is the person, but they never told me. They will just kind of like encourage me to seek the face of God. Who is this person? In my wildest dream, he, Yomi, was never in my radar. Like, it would not fit. I would not look at him. Reasons. Yes, tell you. I felt then that it was all about books. Bible and books. That is all. He was like, can this guy? I mean,
Professor Yomi.
he would say things like, hey, Tabitha, this your, sometimes maybe if I had the bangles on,
Okay.
I used to be trendy, but in the fellowship where we were, it was very, very conservative, where
Okay.
most people do not even do their hair. They like, and then they don't use hair and all of that. But I was different. I was in the leadership. They knew I had my goal, I was just kind of like different. So he would say things like, what if you don't use these bangles? What will happen? I said nothing will happen. I just chose to use it. No, no. But you know that it will still be okay. I say, I know whether I use it or I don't use it, I will still be okay. But I chose to use it. So with somebody that you used to have those kind of conversations with, the idea of the person you will have is this is one very strict, spiritual kind of somebody, and it doesn't just fit the kind of husband. So I was not looking in his direction. He didn't used to dress well at all. Like anything he sees, he just wears. So if I say he didn't used to dress well, not as if it was dirty but there was no class. There was no trendiness. And me, as at that time, I would still consider myself as, I wasn't like all over, but I was still tasteful.
Yes, you're trendy.
Yeah. So it was not it at all. Kind of like jaga jaga dressing. I don't care. I can't be bothered. Bearded. Oh. So it would not even fit.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were just on that. Remember, there were no telephones then, so it wasn't as if maybe we're keeping in touch. So whenever we saw, it was more like whether there was a program or it came visiting on the campus. And when I say this visit, it can be like one visit a semester. So we were not really seeing, and then we were not really talking. Neither were we writing letter because there was no relationship. There was nothing. So how did I now know that this is the person? So when I started praying, I was kind of like always wanting to know God. So who is this person? All I want to do is to do your will. I was keen on doing God's will. And show me. Yeah. So we now went for a program. It was another retreat, maybe like a weekend retreat.
Okay.
As executive in the fellowship and in the planning committee, you were supposed to come to camp ahead of other students. I think I was writing exams, so I kind of like didn't come as early. His own team, they were already at the camp. And as he was approaching me, I think maybe there were not enough mattresses or something. There was just something logistical about the camp setup. And he was approaching me like, Tabose, trying to like keep me abreast of how the setting up is going. And as he was like this, and I heard a voice. It was clear, it was not in my heart, it was audible. And he says, that is your husband. And what I did was to look like, it was in camp, and I was the one alone coming, and he was approaching me. And he says that is your husband. It's like, what? It was more of a, what? I rebuke this in Jesus' name. What kind of something is this? what kind? I said, no. So I just let it pass. I mean, I didn't pay much attention to it, but I heard. But it wasn't something I would jump at. It wasn't something I really wanted. So it was more like, so after that, of course, I would still ask the question. Then it's like, I already told you, that's him. So I now moved from, okay, now I know, to how do I accept that? It's not fitting my box. Like, I have a box of some of the things to tick, and this one is not like, So I moved from that place. That time, if you know this is the person, you don't go telling. I mean, like he knew before me, and he didn't tell me. And the relationship will remain on the level of what is going to be your GP, and nothing changed. That will even like maybe make me suspect that can it be him, or no, nothing changed. So I was clueless. I didn't know at all. So both of us were in that space where you knew this is what God wanted for you, and you are not going to tell. Kind of like trying to check your convictions, whether, because time helps check conviction. If you believe in something, put it to the test of time. So you don't just say, oh, I believe today, and then, oh, I have received. You just jump in and, start doing or whatnot. So that's how I moved to the point of knowing. So I don't know if you have any question yet. I cannot tell you how I moved from knowing to accepting.
Yes, please, you can go ahead. You can go ahead. Yes.
How did I move from that point of knowing to accepting? The core things were like, God, I want to do your will. I just will do what you want me to do. Wherever you say I should go, that's where I want to go. But God, let's see this. This guy is not as tall as I would want. And then everybody knew that he wants to be a lecturer. I don't want to marry a lecturer. I want to marry a couple guy, kind of like well-dressed, suits and all. This one that is always just, going up and down like this, like he doesn't even care about all of those kind of things, God, me, I don't really like him. I think he's going to be boring. It won't be fun and all of that. So I discussed all my objections with God, like, God. But every time I tell God, I'm not feeling this. Then it's like, God, not my will, but your own will be done. But your will be done. So on my own, I now figured out that if I want to marry this person, it shouldn't be just on the premise of God said. What about me liking him? It was just like a friend, but it wasn't a friend, it was an acquaintance. So that's why we were not friends. So I needed to move from just one brother in the fellowship that asked me about my GPA, and then that we used to work together in the executive, to me really liking him, befriending him. So I decided I was going to befriend him. No phones, nothing. But whenever I had the opportunity to see him, I would engage him in more conversations. Because our conversations were just so that I would engage him in more conversations. And I was praying, I was asking God, you need to make him my friend. You need to make him my friend. God, I want to do your will, but I don't want to marry somebody that's not my friend. God, I would do this. Fix this. See, if you fix this, that we are friends, I will be good. I will be good. So, so I engaged him. And apparently, because he also, because he already knew. He knew, like, I think he said, like, when he was like year 2, or year three, but he was not ever going to do anything about it because he must make a first class. It has to be the book and serving God. So nothing else, no woman. And me
Yeah.
too, like no guy. It's just me, book and God. So that was just it. And then I could say that yeah, it was my friend. And by the time I went for service, I went for NYSC. That was when he now proposed. He now came and said and delivered his manifesto, very boring manner, but he still delivered it. And we now started dating. So I was already in NYSC then. So it took time to really like develop into accepting and embracing what God wanted for me. And it was God forced it down my throat. I embraced it. I eventually liked it, you know. So and here we are today.
Wow, could but say one thing I have learned from just this short part of your story is the fact that you were busy minding God's business and you were busy just going about the purpose for which that was the purpose you had at that particular point in time, and you were concentrated on that, and just along the line God just started to sort you out. There's some other questions I'll ask. I'm going to be asking other questions, but I want to continue on your stories. I'll just note down one question, or maybe I should ask it now because it goes in line. I think I should before I move further with your story. What do you think, Coach Bose, is maybe making it a bit difficult with people meeting at in this generation? Because people still go to school. The question I was asking is, with what you've shared now, why do you think, in your own view and as a marriage coach, it seems so difficult for people to connect with a spouse? Is there something, because it's the same way people are still meeting in school, in just different places, you're meeting people, even for some online, but why do you think it looks like it's complicated, maybe not difficult but complicated in this day and age, before we move on to other questions in the line of your story?
That's a good question. My own opinion is that we are in different generations, and because of this difference, the way we used to do that, for most of us Christians, then there was nothing like dating. That's it. Is it that whole concept of dating? It makes it a little bit more difficult to really intentionally ask God who, because in today's world, what you are taught is that you need to check people out. You need to keep checking different people out. So if you want to keep checking different people out, there will be more tendency for you to depend more on what you can see. So it's like you check this guy out and say, God, is it this one? I've gone out on 2 dates with him. Maybe he's the one. Then there is somebody else. So the number of people you have to like deal with in a bid to make your selection, it's more. Then I mean, I didn't have to do that, and I think most of our generation, we didn't have to do that. We didn't have social media where we were always staying in touch with different people, or seeing, oh, this is my friend, I see what the person is doing. We didn't have that. So if I said I was focusing on school, I'm focusing on God, what else would I focus on? So the people that were not focusing on those things were probably focusing more on social life, going to parties, being more active on maybe campus politics. My husband was involved in campus politics, a bit, whenever they have Christian candidates and all. But it wasn't, the distraction now is different. In today's world, you are just being bombarded. Your world has become so big, but then our own world was small. Because our world was small, making choice was easier. You were not seeing too many people. you were not seeing too many people. It was basically the people in my class. So I did engineering. The people in my class, most of them were guys, and we were a class. There were 28 guys and four ladies in my class. It wasn't a large class, and the bulk of the people there were unbelievers. So just a few Christians. So you know already, like the person is not here. So because I know the person is not here, the kind of relationship I had with them was wholesome. It was, I mean, I was like, they used to call me Mama Pet. I was like mommy for them, even for the guys that were older than me. So it wasn't about the age, it was about the positioning. You know, like I took care of them, help them with their assignments, you know, give them food. So I was mommy for them. So the person wouldn't be here. Where else? Is it in my hostel? So where you meet people, the people you had access to were very little. So you could concentrate on so many others, the things that matter to you. Like for me, it was school and it was fellowship. I could concentrate on that because I didn't have any other thing to concentrate on. And I knew that it has to be a Christian gathering that I will meet the person. The person must be a Christian. But your own generation, things are way different. They told you that dating is the way to finding a guy or to find a spouse. That concept. So you see 16-year-olds, they've started dating. They will say, date so that you can have experience. So date. So all the experience that you are gathering, why is it not translating to better relationships? Why is it not making marriages more solid? They keep pushing it down our throat and say the key to it is dating. Date as many people as possible. Dating as many people as possible is damaging people. Because your exposure is just too much. You are exposed to this person, the person turns out bad, you put in all into it, the person turns out bad, it hurts you, it took a part of you, you are nursing the wound, even though you say, I'm over it, you probably wouldn't want to be as trusting as before, or your guards are up. And then you go into another relationship, they say date. Remember, your guards are already up. Because you can't really be your authentic self in the relationship. It doesn't work out. You just keep going and going and going. But if you say this, they will say it is old school. That you are a killjoy. You don't want them to have fun. So if our perspective to how things should be done is now different. So it's your own generation. It's how you have been socialized to do it. Is it all bad? It may not be all bad, but I feel definitely that's one of the reasons why it's more difficult for people to make these choices. Well, our own time, our world was smaller. It's the people you meet. God will speak to you among those people you meet. And you are not dating. I didn't have to date nobody. I just had God. This is the person. And then we started dating. But we didn't have to date first, then hear the person and hear God. We didn't have to date first and hear God. We heard God, then we dated. So my own exposure to, different men, it's not there. So it's more pure, it's more, it just kind of makes our life easier.
Yeah. And I also think Coach Bose is also just a strong relationship with God. Why I'm saying so is like in your generation, there was no distraction. Now, hardly can we even say if a person is having a strong relationship with God, because many people can put out quotes and design it with the Bible app or different Bible apps, but it's not by putting out quotes on all your Instagram and TikTok, but that solid relationship, which without distraction, which is what you said, really truly, really truly. So when you are distracted, how can you even hear God first for things in your own life? And I think that that's something important that we can pick from this interview. Thank you for sharing that. The next question is, so you already shared that you heard God. How were you? Did you need anything to be convinced, or what else did you need to be convinced to marry him? The question actually is, how did you know it was the one for marriage now? Because like you rightly said, oh, dating, some people are like, oh, well, maybe, maybe not so. But how did you know, okay, this is the person I'm going to spend forever with?
Okay. How did I know? Because God told me. See, that it all boils down to me and God and the relationship I had with God. God used to speak with me on other things. Not just like, oh, this is the person. I mean, there
Yes.
were so many like random instances about me hearing something about a brethren, we praying in the fellowship, and me having a leading that this is it, and saying this is what I see, this is what I. So, I mean, when at a point where I was going to be, I mean, like giving a bigger post in the national executive of the fellowship, then I remembered I was in a bus. I think I was in Lagos. Yeah, I was still during my IT period. I was in Lagos in a bus, and it was like a trance. And I saw myself being called out to the podium, people clapping and all of that. And then I knew it was a spiritual environment. And I started praying about it, that God, what it just showed me, it showed elevation, it showed promotion. What exactly are you saying? And I knew that when I get back to school for my 500 level, I was going to get more roles. But in my own little interpretation, then I thought it was going to be on my campus, maybe the joint Christian body, on campus, the joint Christian fellowship, then that maybe that was where I was going to serve. But I knew I was going to serve at, I knew it. So going to campus, so by the time the person that came to give me the letter came in, I was like, oh, okay, so this is it. So I like when you could hear God. There was one day I went for maybe visitation, and I was coming. I was looking at my hall in front, big hall, our hall if you were in UI. And then, the thing just came like, what if this hall should just catch fire now? It would be really terrible, though. See all the many rooms, everything. And then I said, Father, Lord, I rebuke this. This is from the pit of hell. And I started interceding. As I was entering the hall, I was in fire, 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 fire. I knew it. And God wanted me to intercede. And as I was walking to the wall, I was interceding. I was rebuking it, and the fire was contained. It was just in the girls' room. So when you had that level of relationship with God, where you know when it is God that is saying it, So I knew, and then I had to ask God. So where did I get my assurances from? I got it from God. So it wasn't like I went to meet Brother A or Pastor B to say, please help me ask God whether this is the person. No, it was still God. God, you had to convince me. God, I need to be convinced. How do I get convinced? Then I got convinced from his word. What was the word? The word the angel spoke to Mary. That assurance he gave. He said, but how shall this thing be? That was the question Mary asked.
Yes.
And God told him, he said, because I have spoken it. At that point, I was asking, how would this be? Like, God, it was still a struggle. And I saw the word. As at that time, based on the questions in my heart, that word answered it. I held on to it. There were instances where I was in church, because they were all as a basis of the questions. So maybe you're still asking, like, oh God, lecturers are not well paid. This guy, everybody knew he's going to lecture. He's already, they call him prof everywhere. He will be a lecturer. How would we do? They don't get paid. Like ASU strike and all. I'm going to work in the oil industry. What if I have more money? I earn more than him. I hear all these complaints about, women and all of that. And Based on all of those questions in my own heart, God will speak and give me rest concerning it. It will give me assurance that don't worry, girl, you got this, you know. And then also that will give me wisdom on what to do. As at that time, me and him, we were not talking about these issues. We were not. It was a wrestle between me and God. God, if you are telling me this is it, how do you want me to handle this one? Because I am, I have issues here. And God will convince me over and over concerning any objection I throw up, or any insecurity, any fear, that I will say, God, what about this? And then he will assure me. By the time I made up my mind that this is it, I was convinced I had the backing of God. That God, if you say this is it, then this is it, let's do this. So that was more it for me. It was more of that work with God, me knowing that this is what God will have me do. It wasn't based about what he had or what it looked like or the potentials in him. I knew he had potentials, but I also had potential. I mean, I was a prize. So I was a prize. That is it. So I wasn't just seeing myself as going to marry someone that is going to make me. I mean, I could make someone. You understand? So
Yes.
it was more like, God, this whole thing, this destiny, who will handle it? So God needed to convince me. And when I was convinced, then that was when I told people. And then the people I told a few. So I told that brother that was like, why don't you pray about this thing? I said, okay, this is it. Yeah. And then I told and the people I told were not like my friends. It wasn't like I was seeking validation. It wasn't like, it was more for information. Like, yeah, that God told me this. So it was with that conviction, and it took time. So it wasn't like maybe a few, no. It was really kind of like God. I mean, we were ministers. We were my own generation, all our friends then, today, our friends are bishops, are, I mean, like pastors, reverends. It's just me that is still Sister Bose, because God never told us to go into ministry. But we were ministers, and we were going to like handle it with that same importance and urgency. So it wasn't something to be handled casually. So I knew I got my assurances from God. Whenever I went to him, God, what's up with this? You need to help me with this. Let me go speak, and I would know.
Fantastic. So, Sister Gossett, with what you've discussed now, I don't want to say the topic is a bit touchy or is a sensitive question, but it's a question I contemplate on, especially since I'm helping women on their journey to meeting their partners. Do you think that there could be missing of seasons? And this is what I mean. And then there will now be, and some people are suffering from that missed season, and they have to go around in circle again to get that. What I mean is, a lot of people in my generation, like you likely said, and that's specifically millennials, not Gen Z now, then people went for masters or whatnot after school or traveled out. For some, it was because their daddy told them or their mommy told them. It wasn't really that, they were convinced. And for me, for instance, my family were trying to tell me to go for masters, but God did not tell me, so I did not go for masters. And in the journey of staying in Nigeria, I'm not saying because I didn't go for masters I met my husband, but the journey of staying in Nigeria, I met my own husband. But for some people, it happened that way, or maybe they had somebody for them and they just overlooked that person, and now maybe they're 30 something or 40. Could that also, because I know for every action there are consequences, could it also be for some people in this generation that is that season that is kind of coming full circle because they missed it? Or is there something like a missed season at all? I think that these are important questions, so that if a person needs to learn, even a younger person, they can learn and take better actions.
That's deep. So are there seasons? Yes, there are seasons in life where according to God's pattern, the people you are supposed to meet at certain time, the kind of relationship you are supposed to be in at certain time. So there are seasons. And for most people, when it comes to the issue of marriage, for most, they would always kind of meet the people early on in life. For most people.
For most people, yeah, true.
Yeah, so, but for some, it may not happen. We should not forget that this is God that is sovereign, that has everybody's life planned out and mapped out. So, let's say, according to God's planning and timing for you, you were supposed to meet your spouse in when you were in 300 level. And you met the person, but the person did not look like it. And probably because you were very much particular about the look, you just said, no, it can't be this one. I lie, never. And you decided, no, I'm not doing this. Will God now say forever and ever you are doomed, that you will not find somebody again? No. So for anybody, for Christian, for us, we don't believe that it's only one person and one person and one person ever and ever that you can marry. That if you miss the will of God, this person, if you miss this person, then you have missed it. That is not scriptural, because that means that if one person misses one, then that other is disrupted for the whole world. That's what it means. Because if every person has been paired, you've been paired. U is A is for B, C is for D, and you pair this like that. My mathematical mind is telling me once one is out of sync, then every other person, because this one doesn't marry this one, we now go and marry somebody else that is for somebody else. You have scattered the whole thing. God is not a God of confusion. So it's not likely, it's not, I am sure, it's not just one person that you can marry, that if you miss it, then you have missed it forever. No. So if you miss that timing, if you miss that window, because God is magnificent, God is loving, there is also some other person that will still be a good fit, that will still be not management, but still the God will, the perfect will, because it's not just one person. So if you are listening to me today and you believe that you have missed that window, like, oh, I should have been with Kola, oh, it should have been Kola. Okay, Kola is gone, Kola is taken. What if Kola died? Wouldn't you move on? So thank God Kola is still alive, he's married. There is still somebody else that will fit in perfectly and will still be the will of God for you. So don't be under that weight of, oh, I already missed the window. God is opening many more windows for you. But if you are still young and you don't feel like, okay, I've missed anything, but know that there are time bands where certain things, according to God's plan, is supposed to happen for you. So if God is leading you towards somebody, please look at all of us today. Nkechi put out one of our pictures. We don't look like it. You needed to see what we looked like then. I mean, we even saw attraction in the first place where I wouldn't even know. Like, what? So whatever it is that you look like today, or whatever it is the guy or the lady looks like today, Ejo, don't give them years. You will see beauty come out. So don't judge it on, is the person looking good, or the person has money, or the person hey, many things that can change.
Yes.
And you yourself, are you not a potential? Why should you, especially for the ladies, don't always say, can this one take care of me? Can this one, does this one, you, so If I find a wife, find favor, I find a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord. Are you not a good thing? I saw myself as that. Me. Hey, the person that is going to be fortunate to carry this babe, is carrying a price. And that was how I carried myself. That was what I believed about myself. It wasn't about somebody rescuing me or coming to like take care of me. It was me also seeing myself as an asset to somebody.
Yes.
So ladies, raise your head up. Yes.
That's a very important. I thank you so much, Coach Bose, for how you just answered the question, understanding that okay, it's beyond one person, but also paying attention to your seasons as well. Because like Coach Bose said, many times people don't look like what it is that they are going to look like in the future. Look at Coach Bose's question about, lecturer, how are we going to do it? Sometimes when people in this generation just get stuck there and they don't even move on, and the truth is the person or the people just get to move on and life goes on, and well, till the next person that God has for you. My other question will be about feelings and emotions. Well, for you, did you have those, or did you wait for all the feelings and emotions to come rushing, or with what God had shared and with him, with Prof proposing that's coming to you, you just started to take it one step at a time? Because that's another problem, this fight of attraction, no attraction, attraction, no attraction. I would like you to speak about it. Would like you to like to hear your perspective.
Okay, good one again. in today's world, there is so much emphasis on what you can see, the beauty, the look, and also the feel. When I see him, does I have chemistry? Romance is overrated. Some people can come at me like that. I am a counselor, and I meet people every day in this therapy work.
Yes.
I beg to tell you that the majority of people that struggle in their marriages are the people that are so heavily dependent on feelings. So when you are trying to help somebody, say, okay, let's use more of our logical brain, let's look more into the logic. The person is stuck in the feeling. So in working with them, when they are stuck in the feeling, so let me give you an example of someone who is stuck in the feeling. There's a lady, she told me, you see, I've been in other relationships and I know how I felt. You see, with this man I'm married to, I am not feeling that way. So what are you not feeling? There are no sparks. Everything, the guy is awesome. They are married though, we took it. My husband is a good man. He's awesome. He's good. But you see, it just doesn't give me that, that I said, okay, why not try and spark the fire? Why not do things that will spark the fire? And say, even when I try, it doesn't work. So you would rather continue to salivate about all the other previous experiences you've had and how fun and romantic and spunky those ones were. That brings me to the point of, if you have never tasted something, you don't crave it, you don't miss it. You don't miss what you don't know. This generation, when they keep fantasizing about all manner of sex styles and all manner of sex composition, they fantasize about threesome, that they had a threesome before it was awesome. Because you have tasted that thing, Mm? When you come into a marriage and it is not there, you will be missing it. It will make this relationship tasteless and boring because you took yourself to a particular crescendo, which, if it is not sustained, you will never be happy where you are. So, when we say this generation, the more adventurous, the more things they expose themselves to, the more things they crave and they strive, the more you expand your palate, your appetite, that when you now see normal is now boring. You will now say, I can't be here. It doesn't feel like it. It's not giving me the kick. It's not because you were getting too many kicks before you settled.
Yeah.
So stop all of this. I must do this. I must do that. When you do all of that, by the time you want to settle down into marriage, men, you are not going to have all of those things. Remember, those kicks you got from different men or different ladies because you dated like 10. So you got one type of flavor here from A, you got this type of flavor here, so your appetite, your palate is open to those kind of different flavors.
Yes.
But for somebody on this side that never really tasted all of those things, if you give someone that has never had ice cream before, you give the person vanilla ice cream, the person is licking the vanilla ice cream and be happy for life for taking vanilla.
That's the best thing that has ever happened. True.
That's the best thing. My vanilla is Fawehinmi. It's beautiful. It's good. But if me now, that me, ice cream flavor, orishiri, I will mix it. Well, I want caramel there. I want banana. When you see my ice cream combination, it's because I have tasted all of those things and I know it. When you bring me vanilla is flat. Like so you're buying me ice cream, you're bringing vanilla. Why now? What happened to the caramel on top? Or what happened to So in the same way, when it comes to relationship, the more of those things you're like, it's giving me all this funky. Normal life will now be very boring. So what exactly was your question? Did I answer it or I failed off?
Well, yes, you answered it. You pretty much answered it. It's just about feelings and emotions and the importance or non-importance of it being a part of what should be a marital journey. And
So you should like yourself. You should like the person you want to marry, and you should have feelings for them. The feelings meaning there should be romantic feeling. Like you should. It's not like the thought of the person touching you make you cringe. If you think about the person and the person's mouth or the person's face coming to you, it just makes you freeze. Like then that's not good. That's not good.
Yes.
That is not good at all. But what we are saying is that the emphasis should not be on that, because that does not sustain a marriage. So a relationship is supposed to sit comfortably on 3 legs. Imagine the stool that has 3 legs. One leg is the commitment leg. One leg is the friendship leg, and one is the romance leg. So your marriage cannot start on romance alone. It can't. If there is no commitment, so the person is always cheating up and down. But when the person sees you, brings you flower, brings you this, brings you that, so the person lacks commitment to you, or the person is not your friend. The only thing that bonds you guys together is sex. That's that's relationship. But you see, where there is friendship and where there is commitment, romance is the one that you can always put fire to. Strike the match, burn it, it will come like. So when you have those 2 ones, you can always ignite the fire of romance. But if it is also heavily based on feelings and romance, and those other 2 are missing, you're in a consistent struggle.
Wow. Okay, good Bose, thank you. We move ahead with our questions, which is the next question is, did you have any obstacles when you and Prof were getting married, or what sort of obstacles did you have? I'm talking in terms of in-laws, finance, whatever the case may have been. That's before getting married now. And if you did, how you dealt with it?
Did we have obstacles? Hey. So in our two families, they knew us that these people are Christians, God people. If they say God said this is what we are doing, there's nobody that is going to say no, don't do, you know. So there was no objection from anywhere as per, oh, don't marry him or don't marry her. Nothing. When it came to us planning marriage, we were young, we were under 30, but we were matured. We knew, I mean, I have been doing marriage counseling when I was in the university. I have read books. I was already like counseling marriage. So when I went for service, the church I was attending, I was sisters coordinator in the church, and it's all mommies that were there, like mommies. So I was counseling. They were like, up can be my mother, you know,
Yes.
helping them with relationship issues. So reading books and really being exposed and asking God questions helped me. So where could we have had financial problems going into marriage? And this was one thing that I settled even before knowing who I was marrying. So when I was in school, remember, I had male classmates, many of them, and they would sometimes make comments and say, Mama Pet, whoever will marry you, person will try, the person must try, And I would say, like, try how? They say, You know, they will be telling me like I was too much. You know, I was too much. I was too much in the sense that I was just very outstanding. You know, I was really very outstanding. So if a guy wasn't very confident, the guy can't really come near me, you know. Maybe my height, my carriage, I could do many things. You could say maybe I used to intimidate people, or not me intimidating them feeling intimidated.
Yes.
I noticed my own friends, my classmates, will take jabs at me like, you have to marry a powerful man, you know, those kind of comments.
Yes.
Then, at another point in time, there was a brother that we were friends. Me and that brother, we were really good friends. And that brother too told me that he felt that I was too much. He felt I was just too much of goodness, you know. And I didn't see it as compliment. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't a compliment. Like, so did I make myself like this? I did not make myself like this. So if you felt, okay, this person is very brilliant, studying this course, is acing all our course papers, when it comes to, and I could cook, you know, when it comes to, I will make food for them. I was just like that. And then they saw it as a disadvantage. Like, God, why? So while in school, then I had to deal with all of those kind of things. I had to deal with it in prayer. Like, God, help me to be temperate. You know, so when your good is being evil spoken of, you need to watch yourself. It's you and God. So my prayer then, like, God, help me to be temperate, help me to be calmer, to be more submissive, to all of those work. I wasn't in a relationship. It wasn't about one person I was looking at. So I was dealing with me. And by the time I finished all of that, I had a model of when I am in a relationship, when it comes to money, this was what I was going to do. I knew that my money was going to be our money. I knew that well before I started dating. That whatever I had, I was going to drop it. I used to ask God then. I say, God, you are going to give me a man that will bring the bread. That whatever I bring and what I'm bringing is going to be huge, but it's still going to be the butter on the bread. Whatever, as big, you see, when I go to that oil industry and go and make the money, it is going to still be the icing on the cake. You are going to so empower my husband that he will bring the cake. I was praying all of that. I didn't know. So by the time I now knew who I was going to marry, of course, when I went to serve, my salary, I served in Shell. I was earning Shell money and I was earning NYSC money. My husband that time was a graduate assistant in Futa, lecturing. My quarter alawi was like, maybe like ×4 of what he was earning. That was how we started out. But because I dealt with all of those things, as per me never being a threat to a man because I had it all together, it was simple. I just knew that whatever God gave me, I am bringing it here. And there is never going to be my money kind of. When I finished serving and I started working, way back in 1999, my salary was like a 30,000 naira. 30,000 naira was huge. When Abdul Salam came and increased lecturer salary, my husband's salary was barely 8,000 naira.
Wow.
As a lecturer. Yes.
Like triple.
It barely. And that was when they increased the thing. And I was like at the 30K then in 1999. Yeah. So that was how we got married. And there was no problem about it because I would say, okay, so this month's salary, these are the expenses, and we worked that way. If I said, okay, I need to buy shoe, and it's going like, but did you not buy shoe last month? Oh, that one I bought was slippers. This one I want to buy is a cover shoe. Are you sure you need it? Man, it was my money. It was my money. But it was our money.
Yes.
So we really didn't have that problem because when we started out with respect for each other, and that's one of the things that is missing today. You see, people do not respect who they marry. A lot of the times in this generation, respect is missing. Like, people are so rude. People are so rude, so flippant, so jaga anyhow. They just feel it's being woke to be, to be like, nobody can tell me what to do. I do me. I mean, but we were not like that. It was not very collaborative. We knew that we are in this to make it work. So there was absolutely no problem. Our wedding, we cut our coat according to our size. In fact, my husband is the last born. I am the firstborn. When we drafted the budget for our wedding and his siblings saw it, in fact, they said we wanted to disgrace them. That, is this what we call wedding? What type of cloth did we plan that this amount of money we buy? What kind of we're like, God forbid, if their mom were still alive, this one wouldn't happen. What type of thing is this? So they now took it up upon themselves to do a lot of things. So mind you, when I entered into our reception hall at my wedding, I was like, I was worrying because I was like a guest in there. Well, I guess They did it because what we wanted to do was below par and was going to be a disappointment, or we were going to ridicule them.
Mm.
So they decided to do what they felt was befitting, and it was beautiful. Thank God for them. But we didn't break the bank. We didn't owe nobody. We didn't. If our wedding was going to be like, we want this small room with, that was what we could afford. We were good, and yeah, some things are not that important.
I mean, you've answered just with that one question, you've answered a lot of questions, and the replay will be available to also be on YouTube so that a wider audience of people can get this. Lessons and Button say it was awesome. A lot of
That's my
lessons
brother.
from. Sorry?
He's my younger brother. He was at
Oh,
the wedding.
oh, wow. Thank you for being a part of this live. Wow. It was really okay. Fantastic. Testifying to the wedding. And of course, the marriage is the most beautiful part. Did you have any fears before getting married? And I'll collaborate that question with expectations. So, did you have fears and expectations before getting married? And what were your fears and expectations before getting married?
Did I have fears about getting married? No, I did not have fears.
Mm,
I have a question which God answered for me.
mm,
One word that I held on to that made me to, that settled it for me. God
mm,
told me He will make you happy.
mm,
So I had that because when he now came, I told him that the reason I am doing this is because God told me you will make me happy. And I
mm,
have been praying it for you, for capacity, everything that you will need to be able to fulfill God's promises to me.
mm,
You remember, he wasn't the one that came to me and said, "But don't worry, I'm going to make you happy." No,
mm-hmm.
God assured me that your me is going to make me happy. So it's between me and God. So God, you said this, your son will do this, give him capacity, help him to be able to, to live up to the goal, the role you want him to play in my life. So I didn't have any fears like, oh, will this work? Will this not? I mean, I was acting on God's word. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the good. There was no afraid, I don't being afraid. What about expectation? Yes, I had loads of expectations. Oh, thinking that
What was it like when you now got in?
hey, I had expectations so that at least when you are married, your husband will like take you out, will be more romantic. Because when I was not seeing romance, because there was really no romance, like what is the dating we even had safe? I was in Port Harcourt. I was serving, and then I worked in Port Harcourt. He was in Futa. He was in Akure. So, and there was still no phone, no mobile phone. So it wasn't like, we're always like in each other's face. But what
Yeah.
I used to do then was that I used to write. One of the things I made sure that built our friendship was communication. Even though there was no phone, and I did not even think that phone will come by that time. We started dating in 97, and I would write my daily activity. It was like I was filling a log when I was serving. So I would write when I get home at night before I sleep. So I have like full scarf sheet. I would write, today, it was very hectic. You see, this project I was giving at work, this project, this one, this my boss said this my boss said that. In fact, that man, it's God that will save him more. Just help me be preaching about it. Da. All right, today fellowship was awesome. I ministered. This was what I shared. This, da. I'll write it. Maybe if it has like feel like maybe 4 foolscap sheets. I'll put it in an envelope. My office then, it was not stressful. I mean, I was in Shell, so I just drop it in the mailbox. They'll put stamp. I didn't even need to put stamp. So it was easy, and it was receiving almost on a weekly basis. It will receive my letters. And my letters were just basically letting him see my world. This is me. This is what I do. So we used to be able to have, phone calls. You would sit by the phone and wait for me to call. Network will be bad. That one can happen like once in 2 months or once in 3 months. So that was the kind of, but it built a friendship. Was he also writing back? He would write like 3 lines. So if I send 5 foolscap sheets, his own letter will come like 3 or 4 lines. It will not even reach like half a page. That is his letter. I was not communicating that much. So expectation, when I got married, I was thinking that, then, this person will now be more expressive. This person will now be more, but I didn't get that. Then I was like, what now? Can you not even talk? Can you not even say, I love you? Can you not even, Shebi, he said it like, he said it before, and I said it yesterday. It will be one far day like that. He said it. So the expectation you have, like, this is how this person is going to behave or handle things, the reality was way, way far from that. But there were things that could be managed. There were things that one could talk about. And there is always opportunity for growth. As much as I have grown, he too has grown. So those things are no longer issues like, oh, you're not telling me you love me, or you're not taking me out. Of course, the taking out part of it is still not as much, but it's better now. Even our kids can arrange date night for us. Like last Valentine, I think it was our son, our older one, that said, "Oh, Daddy, I made a reservation for you and Mommy in one place. You have to take her. This is he will take me now." So even if he's not initiating it, he has people in the corner that gives him suggestions and ideas and say, "Oh yeah, I mean, this is what you should do. Daddy, take Mommy out now." So you will not say, where should we go to? There is no place to go. And they say, I say, no, there is a place to go. We found one place for you to go. so that one has improved. So, but you will have certain expectations that you just will be disappointed that this is how this thing is being handled. But just know that there can always be improvement. You are not doomed with that level of dissatisfaction that initially when we first got married, if I try to move close to my husband on the bed, he will move. He will move on the bed and go and sleep at the very edge of the bed, like he was going to fall off. I'll be like, but why? Are you running away from me? Am I smelly? Why is it that you would always be running away and going to be sleeping at the edge of the bed? It's because he doesn't like anybody's body touching him. If somebody's body is touching him, he cannot sleep. You got married. So if somebody's body will touch you, then I will be angry. That what kind of thing is this? But of course, I adjusted. So if he said he had never had to share a bed with anybody. Like he's not used to it. So sharing a bed with somebody, I used to be like very cuddly. I slept on the bed with my grandma. So that was how I grew up. Always like, touching. That is an expectation. I was always looking for who to spoon me. But in marriage, it's not going to happen because it's not that kind of person. So I can spoon for a bit. and then I let him be, because as long as I am in that position, he's not gonna sleep.
Sleep,
So
yeah.
if you know he will not sleep, you would get your feel of the body contact you want, and then you release him to have his beauty sleep. So
Yes, true.
when you get into those situations where your expectation is not your reality, there's always a way to bridge the gap. And at the end of the day, there are some things you will need to come to accept, lovingly accept that these things I can't change, but I know I can be happy even living with it like that.
So that takes me to really good points and lessons that we are learning. That takes me to the follow-up question, because you spoke a bit, well, maybe just a bit about conflicts, just a bit. I would like you to please just share. So, are those some of the tips, or what extra tips could you share to help people with understanding conflict management, whether it's premarital or in young marriages? I'm asking that because that is one of the biggest reasons why many people are getting out of marriages. I was interviewing a divorced person yesterday, and the lady happened to share openly that if they had put in or brought in marriage counseling and just to resolve a bit of their conflict, they would have still married, or they would have still been married. It wasn't infidelity, it wasn't one of those things that made them both get divorced. So I would just like you to just speak a bit about that, and we'll start to wrap up gradually.
Awesome. Um, Conflict resolution, it is a skill that every human being should be taught. In fact, if me, I were to design curriculum in school, if you see the things me I will put in my own school academic curriculum for students, to learn. It doesn't, but instead of them, teaching certain things that really doesn't really have any life application. Put real things that have life application. Example, communication. Example, conflict resolution. These are basic. So what do you do in conflict resolution? You want to make sure that you are not avoiding conflict. You see, marriages fail because they shy away from their conflict. They will say, don't let me talk about this thing. That if I talk, I don't want his trouble. I don't want her trouble. Let me just suck it in. So if you suck it in and you are at peace with it, it's good. But if you suck it in and your internal tension builds up, that is not good. Because one day you are going to explode. So when people pile up unresolved conflict, and the day the thing just blows up in their face, it's too overwhelming for them to be able to handle by themselves. And that's why you should look for help. It is okay to have conflict. Conflict helps you grow. It helps you grow. If you in your room, if there is a cable on the floor that every time you pass by it you trip, the sensible thing for you to do is to say, why am I tripping here? What can I do this thing? Then say, okay, maybe I should take the wire and pass it behind this place. You solve the problem. So tomorrow when you want to pass, you're not going to trip. So in your own relationship, where is that your tripping point? Is it money? Every time I want to say, how did you spend that money? The person flares up. Then I come again tomorrow and I try to say it another way. The person still flares up. I say, we are always tripping here.
Yeah.
Can I try to remove this cable and take it here? It still didn't work. It's not working. Then it's time for me to call an electrician. hello, electrician, I have one wire here. It's always tripping me. Come and fix it. So when people feel that they shouldn't look for professional help for their relationship, I don't know why. Because if it's an electrical cable in your house that has issue, you call the electrician.
Yeah.
So look for help. When you have conflict, it's persistent, it's recurring. That means that you people don't have enough skill to be able to fix that thing. Look for help and fix it. Another tip I would like to give is that learn to respect the personhood of your spouse. I have made a commitment to always emphasize it and emphasize every time that I have opportunity to talk about marriage. No, I'm not saying respect him as your husband or respect him as your wife. Respect him as a human being, a person. Even your children, they deserve respect because they are humans, they are person. So when you learn to respect the personhood of someone, it's going to show in the way you relate with that person, even when you are angry. Even when you're angry, you're not going to be like, because you get angry with your parents, your mom, your dad, don't they offend you? Why is it that you don't go gagas on them? Why is it that when your mom has upset you, they said something nasty, or they did something you told them not to do, they shall have do your affair, and you really were pissed with them? Why is it that you will not throw something at your mom? Because you respect her. Why is it that you will not say, mommy, well, it will never, like the way you see in today's world, you see husband and wife, they will so much curse each other. Like, why?
It's a social media.
You stand there and be cursing your father or cursing your mother, even though they've pissed you off, because of respect. So if we impute respect, you will not go and curse out your boss at work. If we start to respect each other, and you even respect your children, it's going to show in your communication with them. You're not going to say, you this good for nothing girl, or you this silly and be, no. You're going to, it will show. So when you show respect, it's easy to de-escalate tension. It's easy to de-escalate when an issue is getting just how you handle it will help de-escalate it. So learn how to resolve conflict, learn how to de-escalate, and learn how to self-regulate. Learn how to self-regulate. We are all human. When people press our button, when they go and press one kind button like this, your head can lose. But no matter how much you want to go crazy, if you have learned self-regulation, you can calm yourself. You can soothe yourself. Let us stop putting the responsibility on other persons and say, it was because he pissed me off. It was because of what he said. Okay, yeah, he said that. Well, you have a right to how you want to respond, how you want to handle it, how you don't want to go crazy. These are skills you learn. If you don't know how to do those things, we are here. We will teach you. Say, come and meet me. I say, see, I have anger problem. Oh, my mouth is very caustic. Or when somebody offends me, I can keep my lips still forever. Or whatever it is that is a personality issue with you. No matter when you change spouse, if you change partner, this problem still follows you into the next relationship. So learn to develop proper, healthy relationship skills so that you can manage your relationships better. So that is the bit I will share about conflict resolution. I share the ones that put responsibility on you. But when you come as a couple, sometimes we can teach you conflict resolution on how the two of you can manage your own conflict. But this one is about you yourself developing capacity to be able to resolve conflict by yourself.
Thank you so much, Coach Bose. If you're enjoying this conversation, you have to like, subscribe, and share this because more people need to know about this rather than everyday bad news, flooding your timeline. These are important content that should be put out there. All right, we're starting to wind down now. The other question, important question I want to ask because you shared your story with us is, I remember the first time I saw Prof was on TV during an interview. Even before I came to your house, I think I already knew that it was your husband, but that's where I saw him, like just seeing him, and then before I came to your house and all of that. But I'm sharing that because this is the prof that came from the space where you're like, oh, he's a lecturer. How am I going to cope in the family? To who he was at that time, because he's even, I'm sure, it's becoming and continually growing in our nation, Nigeria, and even globally. What was it like, Coach Bose, as a wife going through that journey? And this question is really important because many people nowadays would be like, okay, Coach Bose, I've heard, I will manage with potential. But how is it going to be? What of the tough times? What are we going to do? What if when we get rich, he will leave me? And these are some of the things that a lot of people are bombarding them. That's the latest one now. That the way you try to give people to judge, they'll say, even when he gets rich, he may leave. What do we do? Or what was that journey like for you, just as a wife, from where you both started, and especially Prof, to even where you are now and where you are headed?
What was the journey like? Remember when we started out, I was the one earning more money.
Yes.
So I was the one earning more money. I was the one that looked more like I was going to be the money person in the relationship at the beginning. But I got to a point where I knew I had to let my career go. So I knew I had to let my career go, not because he told me to, but because it was something I settled with God. I settled it with God. I knew I wanted to drop my engineering career. Not really like drop the engineering career, or I wanted to drop my engineering job at that time so that I could move to the city where, we both could have opportunity for good jobs. And he told me then, like, are you sure you want to do this? I said, I have God's backing that we will be fine. I said, God assured me that we will be fine. He tried to like paint scenarios, what if this happened, what this that happened, and I said, don't worry, we will be okay. Are you in support? He said, okay, if that's what I feel I have to do. And then I let go of that, my high-paying job, and then we stepped down to his own salary. Then we both moved to Lagos. I left Port Harcourt, we moved to Lagos. So it was tough financially because then, ASU would also go on strike. Salaries will not be paid for a long time. And then I started to do trading, hustling, and all. But there was never a time in my mind that I felt that was how our life was going to be, like a life of struggle. I mean, I just knew it, that both of us had this potential. we were embodiment of assets, and any one of us were good enough to just make the whole family good. And lo and behold, so I came into Lagos 2000, and by 2003, early 2003, that was when things turned around for us, and he got a multinational job. I got the job with the multinational, and that just kind of transformed everything. And our friends that knew us then would say things like, oh, Sister Bose said, this job, the job God gave you, was for you. And I said, that's how God works. Because I am the one that studied what should make me work in the oil industry. He didn't, I mean, he studied estate management and he worked in the oil industry. So I left my oil industry, where it's supposed to be my own natural habitat, where I'm supposed to be working. I sacrificed the job for the family, and God gave him a job back in that industry at a very higher level. So I get to spend the money, I get to enjoy the benefits without having to do the work. So I tell people, I say, see, God, I mean, God is, I trust him with my life. I trust him. So that is how we have lived. It is not about what we have in our hands today. It is just knowing that God's got me. So if God says, drop this today, I mean, when we were relocating, and some people will ask that, you people, I mean, like, are you not, you want to go and start all over again? Say, it's not about starting all over. It's just about you knowing that wherever you are, you will thrive, because it's God in you, and you carry that everywhere. So I want to encourage people out there, especially ladies, learn to trust God. That this man, you say, if I suffer with him today, will he now leave me tomorrow and then leave me? If your life is in God's hand, that's all that you care about. God is going to take care of you. Your husband is not going to abandon you. Job said, the things that I feared had come upon me. So stop living in fear of, what if this happens? What if I can't have this? What if I can't? You will be fine. You will be fine. Just listen to God. Make sure God is the one leading you, and leave the rest to him. You will be fine. Babe, I can't hear you.
Oh, I muted. I was saying thank you. Thank you so much, Coach Bose. I was saying thank you so much, Coach Bose. Greetings to Mommy Mo, who was our episode 1 guest. Amazing episode. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much, Coach Bose. So I think I have about 2 more questions before your rapid fire question. And a lot of questions, but I just have to drill it down to this. What would you say? What are your thoughts on premarital resources and teachings in this day and age? Some are of the school that, like your generation, it's not like you people were taking 1 million classes and your marriages are working, or at least it is working and it has length. But it seems like in this generation, information overload. Maybe the person did not go for premarital classes, but information overload, and it just looks like people are still having those difficulties. So some people will ask that, is it worth it? I beg, we'll still learn in marriage. We're still going to learn about each other in marriage. Let me just enter. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, you need to learn wholesome lessons. Good. You see, when you said of information overload, because the information is all in all directions. So you are going to see the information that's going to say, it is sex, so be this, learn how to do hand job, learn how to do nose job, learn how to do this, Then there's going to be this information. I say, see, you need your money. Always have your money. Strive to have your independence. Don't let anybody put you down. Then you're going to have this information on here. So it's actually too much information driving you in different directions. But when you go for proper premarital education, it has been sifted. You see, this whole myriad of plenty information that is bombarding you, it's been sifted into what you really need at that time. So you are able to trust your tutor, your instructor, that this person is going to give me the basic tools that I need as I go into this journey. Is it that there will be no surprises, or you will still not be learning in marriage? Yes, you will be learning in marriage, but we are going to at least give you the survival skills that you need. like you are going on a journey, and then your premarital education is packing a survival kit for you. You know, that's how I approach it. I'm packing you a survival kit that, you see, the day you guys have money issue, this is what you will do. The day that it is your third party interference, this is how you will handle it. So you just have one compact box with your survival kit inside it that you carry along as you journey. Which you can always, you know, improvise and add on to, but you need that. When it comes to premarital education, Google is not your friend. Hello, Google is your friend, because it tell you everything is in Google. Go and Google it. Go and Google it. No, Google is not your friend. Sit down with an instructor that will be able to tailor the information and give you the application to your own unique situation. So don't just rely on, I have information on Google, or all the Instagram motivational speaker and Instagram teachers that everybody, I will listen to them. No, you need more than that.
Okay, my final question for you before we do the rapid fire question, Coach Bose, will be on, it's a very dicey question, but will be on we have a lot of 30, 40-year-old people who are single in this generation, data-driven, data-proven. Now, there's this school of thought, and there's still arguments out there that if the men are slow, should the women now reach out? Or, you know, what can the women do since they are the ones with the clock? I would just like to get your thoughts on that generally, on this whether it's a myth or whether it's a word out there that's a men are a bit laid back at this season, and should women be more proactive in reaching out? Just what are your thoughts on that generally, the dating space, and what works, what will actually work in marriage?
So are you asking if a woman can shoot their shoot?
Is
that what they say now? They say, you shoot your shoot. Okay. So you don't think that if you shoot your shot, I shall know it's shoot something.
You shoot, yes. Shoot your shot.
Something. So can a lady initiate a relationship? That's in a nutshell what you are saying.
Yes.
I think it depends. Okay. So a lady can actually initiate a relationship without being trashy, without losing losing face, or without you putting yourself down. And how can this happen? Initiating friendship. If it is friendship, it's not a gender thing. So if a lady likes a guy as a friend, you want to be the person's friend. Bible says he that will have a friend must show himself friendly. So if I want to befriend you now, I have to show myself friendly to you. So I will approach you. I will show interest in you. Nkechi Bawo, what's up? What do you do? Tell me about yourself. Tell me. I'm following godly Bible principle. He that will have a friend must first show himself friendly. I show myself friendly. And so I'm the lady, I'm approaching the guy, I'm being friendly with you. If you respond and you are friendly with me, then the friendship gets deeper. Now, if I now realize that you are kind of, I can see vibes that you like me, but you are not taking it to the next level. What about me asking you a question? Hi, guy. What are we really doing? I just want to know, like, where are we? Is it leading anywhere? I mean, have that. I am a direct person, so maybe that's why it's going to be easy for me. I'm very direct, I'm genuine, I'm authentic. So I want to know what's happening here. I can broker that conversation without me feeling trashy. Because if you keep hanging around me and we are not defined, what are we doing? you are, preventing other people from seeing me. So if you don't want to do, can you move away so that other people can see me? So it's okay to ask, what are we doing? So that is your own way of kind of like trying to elicit from the person if the person has intentions for you. And if the person doesn't have, it's okay. Good luck to the person. Another person will come. But don't just be in a relationship that is undefined, that you don't know what you guys are doing, you don't know where it's headed, just because you don't want to be direct with the person.
Yeah, I think the first part of the question is even one of the answers that I really wanted, which you shared. So because it's a situation of a girl likes a guy, they are not friends yet. He doesn't know. She's the only one that knows. You are saying there's a way you can establish friendship with. I like the way you said it, without being trashy. So even see if anything can come up. But would you advise the going of the asking out thing, or you just think it should stop at the level of the friendship, and if the guy wants anything, he can initiate? For a girl that has her eyes on a guy and is trying to see if it can work.
Yeah, so if it is an online relationship, I mean, check on the person online, ask how are you and all of that. If that person, it takes two to build a friendship. So if the person, you are seeing that somebody is extending a hand of friendship to you, you either take that hand or you let the hand go. So if the person reciprocates and say, oh, we've been talking for like a while, can we meet? Can we hang out there? The other person is extending a hand to you. If the person is letting your hand drop flat and is not showing any interest, it's like, oh my God, not again. Then you take the cue. This guy doesn't want to be my friend. Bye-bye. It's okay. And that shouldn't affect your esteem, because every one of us, we have a choice. It's not everybody that wants to be your friend that you want to be friends with. So also with that other person, if you want to be friends with the person doesn't want to be friends with you, fine. It's not personal. You move on. And your esteem still intact. Your head held high. So you have not done anything. At least you didn't send any nude to the person. It's when you go overboard. It's when you go overboard that your esteem will be damaged. Because you will send book, send this one, send that one, and say, see me. So when that person now does not reciprocate, you are like, hey, my life in the dustbin. So don't be trashy. Be classy.
Classy. Okay, that's a good way to end that. So let's go to your rapid fire question. You have to answer the questions maximum within 50 seconds. 50 seconds is even much, but just to get to know a bit more about you and just to wind things down. That's our culture on the Nail Show. Okay, the first is, what is your favorite color?
Blue.
Okay, what's your favorite food?
Amala.
What are you allergic to?
Nothing.
What's your best movie?
Movie. Anikulapo.
Corota just picked one recent movie that I had watched to just place it inside the answer. Okay. All right. So your best book?
My best book, any book that is on marriage. So let's say, which one of them now? I have many books. I love many authors. So it's relationship with these books.
Relationship, okay. Were you given birth to in Nigeria? Were you born in Nigeria?
Yes, I was born in Shomolu.
Okay, if you were not born in Nigeria, what country would you have liked to be born into?
What country? Hey, Nigeria still.
Nigeria. Okay, fantastic. Gold or silver?
Gold.
Black or white?
White.
Yellow or pink?
Pink.
What is one favorite thing about your husband?
It makes me laugh.
What is your favorite attire to wear?
Casual.
What is your favorite thing to do?
Watch TV.
Okay, no. I remembered something. That's why I was happy. But okay, what do you like to do for fun?
For fun, hey, cook.
Okay, wow, that's interesting. Small chops or jollof rice?
Jollof rice,
Fruits or vegetables?
vegetables,
Would you rather take the train or a ship?
train,
Bus or an airplane?
airplane,
Writing or speaking?
speaking,
Rain or sunshine?
sunshine,
Trainings or one-on-one counseling? That's rather trainings or one-on-one.
one-on-one,
Audio or visual?
visual,
A day at the beach or a day in one of your favorite restaurants?
my restaurant.
All right. If you had one superpower and you could just change one thing in Nigeria, what would that one thing be and why?
I would change leadership
Okay.
because
For
leadership will change everything. If we have good leaders, then every other thing
be organized. All right, and finally, please, at this point, you need to subscribe to SAGENEL TV. If you are watching this, you need to share this, you need to like. This is important. Coach Bose has invested our time with us, and we would like as many people as possible to watch this video. Thank you for being here. The final question for Coach Bose is, what would you like to be remembered for?
Yeah, that I impacted lives. Everyone that comes in contact with me got a piece of me. So it's my goal to always impact people and make them go with a taste of me.
Thank you so much, Coach Bose. If people want to contact you to work with you, how can they reach out to you? Is it just to reach out to you on your Instagram?
Yes, that's the easiest way. I get to attend to the messages on my DM personally, so reach out to me.
That is at Marriage Coach Bose to reach out to her if you have enjoyed this session and you just want to work with her. Thank you so much, Coach Bose. Coach Bose, I'm going to interview Prof soon. I will come to you to talk about it in due time. But thank you so much to Prof for also allowing you do this, and thank you to everybody that has joined us. We are so grateful, and we'll see you on the next episode on Meet Your Husband, or How I Met My Husband.
Thank you, Nkechi. God bless you. Thank you, Coach Yemi for joining, Mommy Moo for joining, Buki for joining, and all the other people. Thank you. Bye.